Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day 3 here on We Know the White Lotus. I am Rob Cesternino, back here with Josh Wigler. Hey, Josh.
It's actually pronounced Wigler.
Wigler.
Wigler. We know Wigler.
What? Yes. Hey, I hear you're a douche.
Yeah, got me. Boom. With a little bit of an eyebrow wiggle, too. Yeah. Has anyone ever been happier to be called a douche than Saxon Ratliff?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Patrick, I heard the girl call you a douche on the show. That was so funny.
And you were loving it.
And I watched your reaction to her when she said it, and you had a smile on your face, and that was so funny.
He did.
People call me douche sometimes, and I think it is hysterical.
All right, we're back, ready to talk about day three with cobra bites and energy healing and a lot of downers of the pharmaceutical kind.
Yeah, we're popping drugs, we're smoking weed, we're freeing snakes. A lot going on here on day 3 of the White Lotus. We're making plans. Our Bangkok plans are starting to firm up as well. And yeah, we've got a lot going on. Man, the worst thing in the world that I could imagine you or I having to do is putting our phones away in Pam's secret bag for an entire week. I feel like did they turn their phones off is a question that I have.
Yeah, are they still on? Yeah,
they won't be for long if that's the case.
That would be a big problem for you to give up your phone?
No, I would actually love it.
Yeah, I think I would not mind it. Yeah, I really, especially if he took my wife's phone away. Oh my God.
My God.
Oh my God.
My
Take
God.
my kids' devices away, please.
My gosh.
Please.
Yeah.
Take my phone.
Take my cat's iPad away for sure. Just like put that in the bag.
Yeah, I would love it. Anyway, so we're here ready to talk about day 3 here at the White Lotus. Of course, if you're not yet subscribed, please, we would be greatly appreciative.
It would be wonderful.
If you could head on over and check out everything we have going on. We know scriptedtv.com. You can subscribe and hear not just this show, but Josh talk about fine shows like Severance and so much more right here. We know scriptedtv.com. Okay.
Is the White Lotus sort of like Severance insofar as these people are the vacation innies?
Yes. I think that's a great point about the White Lotus. I think that we are different people on vacation than we are that are outies out in the world.
Yeah. What is vacation innie Rob like?
I think actually not good because outie Rob has a lot of expectations of how any vacation Rob it's going to go. It's going to be perfect.
Right.
When I go on vacation, everything is going to be perfect and everything is going to be great. And I've planned it all out and I know how everything should be. And everything should be like a transcendent, amazing moment. And everybody should be having fun. And when I am actually on the vacation and it's not meeting those expectations, and God forbid, somebody's not having fun on this trip that we worked so hard to get to,
that's hard.
I am not good.
Yeah, that's tough. It's so interesting because aren't you the one who has famously said the key to happiness is low expectations? And here you are.
Right, because I have low expectations all throughout my regular life. But when we go on vacation, I cannot, expectation, the thief of joy. I expect it's going to be, oh man, we've been looking forward to this for so long. But look, it's not about me.
It's not about you. It's
I
not
just
about
wanted
you.
to, answer your question.
Yes.
Let's talk about another dysfunctional family. Let's talk about the Ratliffs.
Big tsunami energy washing upon the Ratliffs. We last week talked about the story of the little girl who warned about the tsunami and wondered what that was. Is that a metaphor or what? And then we're having tsunami dreams all of this.
Yes. So, all right. Look, this is for big scripted TV shows, the tsunamis are coming. Okay.
The tsunamis are coming. Yeah. World-ending disasters. Is there
All
a
right.
secret bunker somewhere in a cave in Thailand that these people can?
It doesn't seem like it, but we can tell that Victoria is sensing that something is coming. And have we seen any characters' dreams before in the White Lotus?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure we have to have at some point in time, but it's not readily coming to mind.
Yeah.
The way that this was shot and like the sort of like the hazy blue Soderberghian filter like kind of alerts you to the fact that this is a dream. But there was a moment in watching it at the very beginning where I was like, what's Victoria doing out here on the beach? And then suddenly everyone else is there and there's a house and stuff. So it's like, okay, this is a dream. But do dreams predict the future? This is a conversation that the Ratliffs are going to openly have around the table.
What do you think?
I hope not, because my dreams are freaking scary as fuck. It's not good. If my dreams predict the future, we are in a tsunami is going to be a great day. A great day in the future of my dreams.
I don't believe that your dreams predict your future, but I think that your dreams can tell you things about what is going on that you might not be able to perceive normally. And I think that there is like some value in like, wait, what are my dreams telling me, as opposed to I am dreaming of a literal tsunami that is coming tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't think that it's that. I don't think that it is like some sort of like precog situation. But I think it's Piper who's like, we're all part of that collective subconsciousness, man. That's what we're tapping into when we dream. And Saxon's out on that theory. Doesn't think that makes any kind of sense. But Piper then says, like, these are warning signs. Dreams don't predict the future, but they may, present a warning. I think that's what you're talking about, is when we're in that dream state, we think about the things perhaps that we are worried about, and they manifest in our dreamscape in these like very strange, weird ways. Like bearded men in suits, they're closing in. Like I don't need to go back to my dreams, but these are scary things that could possibly speak to what you've got going on and what you're worried about in your life. So Victoria, then, if that's the case, what does she know? I think is a question that I have. Like, does she have a hunch about her husband being in some kind of danger? Does she have a hunch about her family being in some kind of danger? Or does she know? Does she know these things? Does she know more about Tim's business than we know she does, or even more than Tim knows she does?
I feel like that she does not know specific details, and I don't think that Tim really keeps her in the loop on too much of what's going on. But I do feel like that maybe like in like a Carmela Soprano sort of way, like, okay, I'm not thinking about it. I don't know the details about it, but like if I really was thinking about it, something, I know something is off with what my husband does.
Right. Like, I mean, like, I'm not going to interrogate too deeply why my husband has just like a machine gun in the wall. Like, that's fine. Like, it's just for protection. I don't know what like Sopranos versions of that exist in the Ratliffs, in the Ratliff house. But I think that there's something. I think that there's something there. And
your father is in waste management. Okay.
He's a glorified garbage man, not a mobster. Are you kidding me?
He is in sanitation.
Come on, Saxon.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you sanitize before you bone. It's very funny, Saxon. You're in sanitation. Wash your hands. Getting so dirty.
Okay. All right. So Timothy is really going through it in this episode, and
did he pop a pill? Did we see him pop a pill?
He popped the second pill. So he took the one pill earlier in the episode. And I do wonder, Josh, do you feel like that we could be seeing like some kind of like reversal from these two characters where, Victoria starts the show and she's the one who's popping all the pills.
Right.
And I wonder if that she's becoming like more adjusted and she might be starting to be like more sober and coherent. And I wonder if Timothy has got. We know about the monkeys. Maybe he's got that monkey on his back now. Like, is he going to be?
Is he going to go bananas?
Is he just going to be like catatonic for the rest of the week?
I hope not, because I feel like if we just like sort of like remove the life from Timothy and just have him be this catatonic character, unless the Victoria dream is like unless it's like sort of a warning to us that this show might get funky with some dream stuff. So like if he knocks himself out and then starts having dreams about all of these various people who he's let down or who he's been in shady business dealings with or whatever, that could be fun. That could be interesting. We missed, by the way, last week that Kenny, the guy he was calling on the phone, was voiced by Oscar-winning actor and former short round actor Ke Kwan, was showing up as a voice cameo. I bring that up now because there are a couple other phone calls in this episode that now I'm wondering, are those famous people? Is it always a famous person that calls? Because I believe, was it, I forget who it was who leaves a voicemail on, it was Laura Dern leaves a voicemail for Michael Imperioli in season 2. Or is on a phone call. So does Mike White just pull in his like celebrity friends to do vocal cameos
and
on
Survivors?
The White White? Yeah. So I'm sure on Monday morning there will be some story about who was Cliff or whoever these people were. Looking forward to finding out.
Okay, so the Timothy storyline really is he's getting all these phone calls. People are raiding the office. The FBI was here. Saxon, who's involved with the business, also is starting to get phone calls. And so when Pam is delivering a blender for Saxon, finally, that Timothy is going to take her up on her offer to take all the devices away.
Every single device, because if he doesn't, imminently, everyone's going to find out what's going on. Saxon getting these calls is because, like, yo, you're all in danger, like big trouble. And so a very curious move on Timothy's part, on Big Tim, saying, okay, well, let's just put those away and not look at it. Because if we put our phones in the bag, then I'll probably, like, this will just blow over and it'll be fine when we take the phones out of the bag. This is a very bad idea. This man's in a lot of trouble. I don't know how he's going to get out of this, Rob. I don't think that he can.
Yeah. I think that that's future Tim's problem.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, future Tim might be a jail innie. I think we're going to see, I don't know if we'll see it, but I think prison Tim is probably not too far away from us.
Okay. Saxon's laptop gets taken away.
Yeah.
He is losing his access to the pornography.
Saxon, what are you doing downloading pornography onto your computer? Don't you know there are websites for this? You can just stream the porn. You do not have to download the porn onto your computer. It is filled with computer viruses that will rot out your computer, and the scammers will get your social identity. Just go to Pornhub like a normal person.
Well, do you think that Saxon, without this outlet of the pornography, is he going to be even more sexually adventurous?
Hornier than ever? Yeah, yes. I think so. Because Saxon doesn't strike me as a guy with a vivid imagination. So I don't think that he's going to be I don't think that he will be successfully able to do beats without the visual stimulus. So
those are his headphones that he wears?
Yeah, Beats by Arnold. Yeah. I don't think that's going to work out so well for him. So I think that his quest to get laid is going to be reaching emergency status fairly soon.
That was just step one: get laid, get everything.
But it does look like he's got a target that's actually
some options.
Interested. Yeah, he's got at least an option.
Yes. Okay. So we had kind of highlighted last week that Chloe kind of gives him the eye. Okay, this is the one woman that is receptive in this numbers game. And later on in the episode, she's sitting with Chelsea. Chelsea goes off with Rick, and they're left alone together. And she looks at him and says, I hear you're a douche.
And then she winks. She likes it. What's the opposite of douche chills? Like douche heat? I don't know. What is the hot? What are hot chills called?
Hot chills.
Yeah.
Heat stroke.
Whoa. Well, he would love a stroke. So that would work out quite well for Saxon.
Yeah. Okay. In this episode,
How long before they bone do you think? We hear in this episode that there's a big boating expedition that's likely going to be a big focus next time on day 4. Is that too soon for them to make the bond, as they say on Pandora?
Yes. Okay. Or on Amazon.
That's right.
So we have Chloe. She has, an eye for Saxon. She's invited them to go on the boat. We see that there is going to be Gary is taking people out on the boat with some expats, and we hear that the Ratliffs, they have dinner. Saxon says they're going on somebody's yacht tomorrow. And as he's sort of making eyes with Chloe, did Greg catch them? Is Greg onto this?
Greg is scary. I never thought of Greg as an especially scary character.
He's
on
a
this
bad
show.
boy.
But he's terrifying. The moment where Belinda's looking at him from across the way, and he's then she looks away, and he's just staring, and then Chloe, he just staring daggers at Chloe. Yeah, Greg is in his supervillain prime, full Lex Luthor, with respect to the late great Gene.
Yeah, pour one out.
Yeah, pour one out.
Yeah. All right. So that's what's coming up on day 4 for the Ratliffs. We saw Timothy taking some more pills. As far as the other Ratliff kids, Piper, she finally goes off to go to the temple, and I thought they were going to tell her that the person she wanted to see was gone this whole week. But she has an appointment for Friday at 2.
Friday at 2. Do we know what day of the week it is on the White Lotus right now? So how many episodes away?
We know
is
what
the
day
meeting?
number it is, but I don't think we know necessarily what day of the week it is.
I'm sure someone could suss it out, but not us on the fly right now. What was more interesting to me was she said, because I'm interested in the year-long program, is what she says. And then she goes away after having reconfirmed the Friday at 2 p.m. And she's looking around in the center of the monastery, and it seems like her idea is to join the monastery, which I don't think was part of what she pitched to her family for this group.
Yeah.
And I think that this group has a little more in common with Kate and her her Texas friends. I don't think they're going to be so open-minded if this is really what Piper wants to do.
Do you think the Ratliffs will go back to North Carolina? Will they set up shop in Thailand?
I think if they're lucky, they'll set up shop in Thailand. If they're lucky, if they're smart, they'll just stay here forever. They'll pick Greg's brain for how to hide away. They'll all change their name to Gary. The Gary clan stays here. What do you think? Do you think that they're going to stick around?
I feel like that some of the members, I could see Piper liking it. I could even see Lachlan wanting to stick around. I don't know if Victoria wants to stick around in Thailand.
Yeah, I just wonder, will they have a choice? It's very hard for me to picture Timothy wanting to go back right now. So getting him on the plane is hard for me to see.
Very much looking forward to seeing him on the boat with Gary and potentially Rick.
Yes, it sounds like Rick will be there as well. And we know those guys don't like each other.
But Rick has plans. I don't know if he's going to break his plans to go on the boat.
Right. Yeah, that's the tension there. The only thing with Lachlan really is he's going to drink the protein shake that Saxon makes. We're trying to beef him up still. We're trying to get him laid this week is the big mission.
Well,
so we're trying.
Not holding my breath on that one, but
yeah. Do you think that Lachlan will leave the season a virgin, or will he lose that card along the way?
I mean, I have not seen any other potential. If we're trying to figure out what paths is he going to cross with the other characters outside of members of his family.
Yeah,
I don't see any other people on the White Lotus that I think are potential matches for Lachlan.
If Chloe wants to neg Saxon and have sex with Lachlan instead, that could be funny. That could be interesting. But we got to work on
But
his
I don't see it.
posture. We got to work,
on his posture.
first.
Yeah, I thought him with the posture instructor was interesting. That the posture instructor was a little bit sort of like a body language expert.
Yes, yeah. It was, and it was a tough read. Lachlan, I don't know about for filth, but he couldn't move without being identified.
Very like defensive posturing and
your arms.
Yeah,
left foot
this guy
on the
was
right
good.
knee, left foot on
Meet
the right.
This guy
knee.
on a Survivor podcast.
Yeah, I would love that. I think we could get through our could we call Carl? Does Carl know this guy? Can Carl make the meet happen?
Yeah. Okay.
Connect
he
us.
has the meats.
How's your posture?
I have to work on it.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
I've turned into
it's a work in progress, Josh.
I'm full hunchback these days. It sucks.
Yeah.
I look at myself in the mirror and I go, oh man.
Yeah.
How did the hunchback get out of Notre Dame, folks? He's here in Brooklyn. It's me. It's not good.
Let's just talk about that and how we end the episode on, and we've ended, I think, 2 episodes in a row, right? On the rat lifts of, okay, Tim, is there something going on? We see him, he takes another one of her, he's like going through her bag, like raiding for looking to get the pills.
Yeah.
And he takes one. She says, Tim, is there something going on? He actually tells her, I don't take drugs. We've just seen him. And he takes the pill, and we see the light go off, and he says nothing to her.
Nothing. Now, is he gonna go? Is he gonna fall asleep right away, or do you think that the nap will have?
No, I think that the pills are going to knock him out.
Take him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the morning, is he gonna want more? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I think probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He feels like he's like. I mean, like he's tight, right? If we're doing some body language reading on him, he's just like he's red and tight, and you're seeing like bursting veins, basically.
Yes.
The body language expert meeting with Tim would then just like call the rest of the Ratliff family back. Okay, so this guy is about to go to jail for something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but like, look at this. You know, like he should not sit across from that guy, I don't think.
Let's talk about the girls' trip, the victory lap even.
Let's go back to the victory tour, which if you are a White Lotus fan, you know exactly what that is, unless you're not watching closely enough.
Okay, Josh, let's talk about the ladies. And I will say that we talked about last week of like, will we ever get the prophecy? We had the 2 different 2-person conversations in the 3-person group.
Yes.
Will we ever get a Lori, Jacqueline, just reading, was it Kate for filth?
Yes.
And we did ultimately, that got paid off in this episode. We got it.
She was in such a good position. She was like a guaranteed finalist. She had the vote for Trump. She had the vote for Trump, Rob.
She's independent now.
Do we have to talk about Trump? Do we have to talk about him? Why are we ruining this perfectly nice podcast by talking about him? That's basically what she says. So she's moved to Texas. She's taken religion very seriously. She and her husband Dave go to church every Sunday. They asked her if it's awkward talking with a bunch of religious Texans who voted for Trump about politics. And then she just like looks at Lauren and she goes, Is it awkward? Is it that weird?
Yeah.
Is it weird?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yo, who'd you vote for? So, you know, it got a little uncomfortable between.
Yeah. What year is it on the White Lotus? Can I ask?
I imagine it's now. I imagine it's now. They filmed this last year, right? An election was in full swing. You know, this all could have still translated should Trump's opponent have won the election. So I don't think that Mike White dreamed of this and brought a future into existence. I think
I'm just wondering, is this like, was this for, like, what year was this? Like, this could be like, you know, a lot of different years to vote for Trump.
True. It could be 2036 for all we know.
Yeah. It could be the future.
Yeah, this could be in the future.
Which Trump?
Yeah,
Which Trump could be a different,
Which
a
time,
whole different member. Yeah.
Did you vote for him for his 17th term? So it could be far future.
Is this Barron Trump? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
By the way, just to briefly talk about Baron Trump, I do think that it would have been better if his name was Baron von Trump. There's that's just missing to make him like a G.I. Joe villain. Baron von Trump is, I think, is a more menacing name than just Baron Trump.
Well, let's go back to the beginning of things with the ladies on the trip. Valentine is around, and he wants to do some energy healing.
Yeah. How are your chakras these days, Rob?
Okay. I hopefully aligned.
Yeah. Like you're
Rob, all of your chakras.
Your chakras need to get pumped up. You are not doing enough work to work out your chakra.
They start all the way down to your sphincter. And they go up to the top of your cranium.
That is why we saw my son's butt on the show, because it was just a remark upon the fact that his sphincter chakra is as strong as his father's.
All right, where are we going with Valentine and his energy healing?
Okay, so this was interesting, right? So last week we speculated, did Valentine let the robbers in? And as far as we know, like robberies like this are not commonplace at the White Lotus, Thailand. So I would feel better about the idea that Valentine is like in on it if he says he's been working here for 3 years. He's been working here for a number of years. That feels like a very long time to then like suddenly decide now we're going to make our move. Unless that's like just establishing deep cover alibi, Rob, that like no one would look at him. That's Valentine. He's so loyal. He's been here for 3 years. So I don't know about the robbery side of Valentine, but as far as like Valentine and Lori, do we think that that's going to go off? They had a very sexy, non-sexy time during the energy healing.
Yeah. It's been a minute since a guy has not touched Lori like that.
Yeah. I'm used to getting not touched. So like for me, like that like felt like probably normal business. But it was a very hot non-touching. Yeah.
Where are we going with this story, Josh?
Well, is Lori going to hook up with Valentine ultimately? That feels too clean. Is like Jacqueline going to decide to make some moves on Valentine, and like that's part of how she's like a fakey McGee?
Yeah, I think at some point we're getting like some kind of like Reservoir Dogs. Like the three of them are just calling everybody out of like, oh really? Well, she thinks that you're blah 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 blah. Well, she thinks.
Yeah,
so I think that these three leave as not friends.
I think that's probably right. Although I think the White Lotus often will have people leave vacation and return to their lives in some semblance of business as usual, which is like also like sort of like the vacation dichotomy of like these people are going on vacation. They think it's going to change their lives. They go home and they're just in their lives again. But so I think that they could explode here, but I also suspect then they would go back to their lives, which I guess to your point would probably mean not talking to each other for another 4 years.
And you have many friends that I don't mean to like blow up your spot like this, but you have so many close friends from like all the different eras of your life, and that it does feel as though there is some kind of, and I don't know if it's these specific women, but there is some sort of like, okay, when we get together, we have to be the version of ourselves that we were at the time of the friendship.
Yes.
And these three women, who are one from New York, one from Texas, one from California, they've all gone on very different paths and have a lot of judgments about the other ways that their lives have veered off.
Yes.
But they're sort of like forced into this box by the girls' trip of like, no, we're actually all still the same people that we were. And time has made them very different people. And for better or for worse, that they are really hiding that from each other.
Yeah. Has Mike White like subtly, stealthily snuck in survivor like tribes based on geography that has always been speculated on, like East Coast versus West Coast versus Middle America.
South, yeah.
And are these like the tribe captains? Lori is the East Coast tribe captain, Jacqueline West Coast, and Kate Middle America. I feel like maybe he's like testing that out and piloting it to show to Jeff, like, see, this is a good premise. There's a lot of drama in here.
Yeah.
Life is very different depending on where you live.
Yeah. So we'll see ultimately where we go with the women.
The most survivory storyline for me is the Victory Tour, the Victory Tribe.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's going on with Rick and Chelsea, because Rick had a lot of action this week.
Big time. Yeah.
Rick opens up the episode with the chance to talk to, I'm not going to be able to say it right.
Sitala.
Yeah.
I think so. Sitala.
And he plays that he's a director.
She really doesn't vet this
Showbiz
at
type.
all.
Yeah.
Like he says, like there's a director, and she is like, oh, who is it? And like, what would Walton Goggins say in them? Steven Spielberg. I don't know. Like it was a bold gambit, I think. And also very unlike him, very unlike Rick, the way that he speaks to her, very like the kind of classic Walton Goggins role that I think most people think about when they think about that actor. He sort of like slips into that charming, charismatic mode. Is this further evidence of like, is he some sort of like CIA operative who's like traveled the world and has had to like,
I don't think he's CIA.
situation?
I think he's like a flim flam man. Confidence man.
What is flim flam?
I think that he is like Greg, like somebody does a little of this, a little of that. Yeah. I don't think that he is a government operative.
Yeah. In any event, he does say during therapy a little later that he's done a lot of bad things. He's made a lot of mistakes. Mm-hmm. There's like things about him that if you knew, you wouldn't like very much. So whatever, it's just, it's interesting to like see his skills in play, because we know Walton Goggins is a terrific actor, but it wouldn't have been on my bingo card that Rick Hatchett was a particularly good actor, but he's able to play the part convincingly enough to get Sitala to give him his card. So I know that the boat is tomorrow. Do we think he's going to blow it off and just go to Bangkok?
I'm not sure. I think he kind of does what he wants.
Yeah.
I don't think Chelsea has too much agency to get him to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Yeah. That being said, he's immediately very, 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 very concerned about her once she gets snake bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he certainly is. Before we get to the snakes, though, when she comes back, or he comes back to the table, she's like, what were you talking about? He's like, I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
And she brings up, Scorpio. You know, so secretive. And Josh, we in our podcasting are always looking to tie in like what's going on in the world of Survivor proper and what's going on. And between the Reiki healing, between, the talk of the astrology signs, that I do feel like that the Survivor premiere, you could very much see some of the contestants just like walking on over to the White Lotus.
Yeah, I think that you could imagine some of them just showing up. I didn't know that Aries and Scorpios didn't get along.
Who knew?
Not me. Hunapu. I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, right. She does. She wants to know all the stuff. She wants to know the things, and he says he doesn't have to tell her. But later in the episode, isn't she going to say like, we're soulmates, Rick. We're soulmates. And he in this moment, she says, we're soulmates, Rick. You have to tell me everything. And he says, how can we be soulmates? We don't even have the same sign.
Yeah.
Is that what it takes?
Don't even start with me. Do not get cute with me, Rick.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But Rick is going to run off at one point and jump in the tuk-tuk. R.I.P. Keith Nail.
Yes.
And he's going to go off. She hops in with him. And
He needs weed. I need weed. He says twice.
And he goes, where does he go, to Cannabis Land?
Yeah, it looked like it. This was surprising to me that store could exist. Is weed legal in Thailand? Let's look. Is weed legal in Thailand?
R.I.P. your search history. Yeah.
It's been No, it's already been bad. It's decriminalized in Thailand.
Okay.
But cannabis products are officially limited to 0.2% THC content. Only medicinal use is legal,
yeah.
But in practice, there is wide recreational usage. I think that means that the weed that he got in the store would be pretty weak in THC. And yet he hits that joint and instantly, it seems like, I don't know if we want to say mellowed out. I don't think that's what happens. That is not indica. That's sweet indica kush, Rob. He's got like a best case scenario, like a real potent sativa, but it sounds like you don't get potent sativa in Thailand. So
you don't know what you're getting.
Was it laced with something? I kind of feel like maybe it was laced with something.
You think so?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Like, you think we're not advocating for anything one way or the other on this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, you make your own choices as an adult and you do what you got to do. My question for you, Rob, do you think that someone who just like puffed a couple of like hits of a joint is then going to get the idea in his head to release a shit ton of poisonous snakes?
Sometimes you could get too much in your head.
Yeah, but isn't like it's the opposite thing that you do, right? Like I'm afraid of those snakes. I feel like he'd run away. So
I think he identified with the snakes.
Yeah, he had to free himself.
Yeah,
they really did a good job of making that one like iguana or whatever it was look real sad. Like Rick looks at this like one giant lizard in the snake house, and the lizard kind of has this like look about it.
Well, let's talk about the snake show. And Rick comes in, he says, it's effed up that they're in these cages. She's like, they're poisonous snakes. He's like, well, they still have a right to live free. What are we saying here?
That we shouldn't be caging anything. Nothing should be caged. Should be lived uncaged.
Later on, they have a conversation about like that these are evil creatures. He's like, well, if you just put them in a cage, that's just gonna make them even more evil.
Yeah, I think he says evil things shouldn't be treated like shit. It's only going to make them more evil. Interesting take.
Has he been treated like crap by someone or something?
By life, certainly, is what it seems like, right? Like it sounds like by life, as well as by this guy that he wants to have some. He says it's too late for me to get my life back, but I could get some satisfaction.
Yes.
So Sitala's husband, does he think that fixing this guy is gonna liberate him from his cage?
Maybe.
That's what he hopes.
Well, we see the snake show. What'd you think of the snake show?
I would not go to this. I don't think.
No,
I don't think so.
I'm good.
I'm good on the snake show. I'm not like
on the snake show.
I'm not super afeared of the snakes, but like I don't love them. I don't need to go see snake show.
Josh, what do you think Rick saw when he was in the snake show and he looked over and he saw some girls and then he saw some people just like eating chips?
Lays,
and he's like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I watch these people eat chips. I got to go let the snakes out.
Saxon's got to talk to these people because they know how to get lays. So he could pick their brain. Nice. Got a ding. Saxon hasn't gotten a ding yet, though.
No, not yet.
I think he's like looking at like how crappy this situation is. Like these outsiders, these onlookers are just like walking.
They get chips
into the snake's house, just watching these into the snake's prison and watching them just going like to prison and watching this sideshow, eating chips. Never, and probably will walk away from this show and never think about it again for the rest of their lives while these snakes have to rot away here. I think it's a commentary in his mind on just like the sort of the uselessness of people. He's a very like misanthropic guy. I think he hates people. So I think he sees these loves snakes, hates people. He sees these people just snacking in front of the snakes. And that's like the last stand for him.
Yeah. And so he goes out and lets all of the snakes out. And he's opening all the cages.
Let the snakes out.
Who?
Won't let the snakes out.
Yeah.
It was Rick.
And he lets them out, and they end up sneaking up behind Chelsea, and they bite her in the ankle or the calf.
So what I was thinking while this was all happening, I thought that he was going to get away with this, and the snakes were all going to go, and then he's like going to go grab Chelsea and be like, "We gotta get out of here," or something like that. And then what would happen is like karma eventually would have it that like the snakes would get to the White Lotus. Chelsea would get like bit and die, and that would be like and like maybe all the gunfire is just people like shooting at
snakes, yeah,
and like the body is like bitten Chelsea or something like that. But then she's immediately bit, and I don't feel like the snakes are going to be the thing anymore. I feel like the snake happened. Do you think that this is Chekhov's snakes?
The only thing that gave me some pause with that is that there is a mention that the snakes can climb up in the toilet in the bathroom. I wonder, could that be, is it possible?
Yeah. Well,
the snake gets somebody.
Well, and usually like snakes like drop down into the toilet. That's typically like, so they're crawling up now. I don't like that at all.
I don't like that. I don't like that either.
Those are not the snakes we like to see in a toilet.
Josh, did you feel like that the Chelsea cobra bite got yada very quickly in this story?
I'm not so sure that I needed this to turn into an episode of The Pit, and like we go to like the Koh Samui pit and like have to like do emergency surgery on Chelsea. So I'm okay that we didn't go to the hospital, but it did feel like it happened quite fast.
Yeah. I mean, she gets bit, they rush her to the hospital, he hops in, and then in the next scene there, she's got a Band-Aid on and they're at dinner.
Right. She
wasn't even down for the night.
No, she was good. She was totally fine. They got her to the hospital fast enough, so it was okay.
Can I just say, what would happen to me if I took my wife to a snake show and then I let all the snakes out, and then she got bit
by a snake,
by a cobra?
Yeah.
Let me just say, we would not be out to dinner that night.
Probably not. And on top of that, she keeps being like, "Oh man, you're insane. You're insane." But she kind of loves it. She's into it. So she's not mad at him. She's fine with this. Ultimately, she doesn't seem to mind. Is this going to be a thing that that results in in this scene when they come back and they're in their hotel room? Chelsea is going to say like, "You can't get rid of me.
Yeah,
you can't get rid of me. Even if you kill me, I'll follow you into the next life and then the next. You'll never get rid of me.
You'll never get rid of me." Yes.
Is this? I don't want to manifest. Like, I'm not dreaming of this. I'm not predicting the future, Rob. I don't want anything bad to happen to Chelsea. But is this like that false sense of security that Chelsea survives a near-death experience only for it to come knocking later on? It's been a like she's talking about her reincarnation, right? She's talking about what happens to her in the afterlife. She stays with Rick. Are Rick's actions ultimately like, is this a preview of somehow Rick's pursuit of satisfaction coming at the cost of Chelsea's safety?
That wasn't necessarily what I got out of it, but I do wonder in this show, in this world, that is this more of a sign to us that a person that was killed, you can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
That they're going to follow you into the next life.
Yeah.
That is this more of a sign that this is a universal world where Tanya is alive and well somehow. Maybe in the form of an animal.
Tanya McMonkey.
Mm-hmm.
Is
a
Tanya
monkey, a snake, a kimono dragon.
I'll come back and bite you, Greg. You can't get rid of me that easy. I'll turn into a snake and slither up into the toilet and bite you in your sphincter chakra. I'll go in all the way. I'll touch all your chakras, starting with your sphincter, Greg. You can't just flush me away with the rest of your snakes. I'm coming up.
Tanya McQuad, first name, last name dropped on this episode of the White Lotus. We got a Tanya McQuad. We got the story. We got a couple of different versions of the Tanya McQuad tale in this episode. Speaking of what goes on in the bathroom, we also hear about Murray Bartlett's character Armand. So Belinda is going to, I guess first. So Chloe tells Chelsea, or Chelsea tells Rick that Gary, quote unquote Gary, was previously married, and his wife was some kind of mental patient who walked out into the ocean.
Just walked out into the ocean and never came back.
And all they got was her leg. That was the only thing that they ever saw of hers. Belinda does not mention anything about the death of Tanya McQuad. She mentions that she's been
I don't think she knows.
She mentions that she's been having a hard time. Her friend died. That's Armand. She was supposed to go in business with this lady. That didn't work out. And I'm pretty sure that guy over at the other table is the guy that dated her and like ruined my thing. And so she goes up to quote unquote Gary and says, "Do I know you? Have I met you before? Were you at the White Lotus Maui?" And he goes, "No." She goes, "Isn't your name Greg?" And he goes, "No."
No.
He says, "Didn't you date a woman named Tanya McQuad?" And he's like, "No, that's enough. It's fine. Just go over there. Go over there." All these bald guys look alike is what Chloe tells Gary. But then Greg's going to be shooting daggers at Belinda from across the dinner area. Tanya McQuad getting full name drop. This story is activating, Rob. Where's this one going?
I don't know where it's going, but I feel like that I do not see Greg making it out through the end of this season. I think Greg we're on the Greg death watch.
Yes. I think we are on the final days of Greg.
An untimely demise for Greg.
Yeah. I think Greg's in trouble. Do you think we're setting it up for karma to like come full circle, and Greg who effectively killed Belinda's dreams by dating Tanya and stealing her away, Tanya, who then gets killed literally by Greg's scheming, should it fall on Belinda to not just avenge Tanya McQuad, but avenge herself by getting rid of Greg? Could she be the trigger person who takes Greg out?
I don't think so. I don't think that she will. I don't think she will murder Greg. Like I don't think that is in Belinda.
But if like,
character. But could there be some sort of like accidental? Like I think that the most karmic thing would be somehow for that the inherited fortune of Greg to somehow end in the hands of Belinda.
Yeah.
I don't know how we do that here, but that feels like if we're going to complete the loop, that's what we need to have happen.
So it's less like Greg needs to die for there to be some justice, not just for Tanya, but for Belinda.
Yes, I feel like that karma can kill Greg, but Belinda like finds his briefcase full of cash.
Well, we know how Dharma and Greg ended. How's it going to end between Karma and Greg? Do we know how Dharma and Greg ended?
I have no idea. Yeah. All right. Well, let's just go back to Belinda, though. So Belinda, we see her with Guy Talk and is having like a lovely date, seemingly. Is Guy Talk reciprocating?
With Pornchai.
I'm sorry. With Pornchai. Are these feelings reciprocated, do you feel like? Or is he stringing her along?
I don't know. Pornchai got a little tipsy at dinner. And he walks her back and he says, "I hope you have good dreams of me and I will have good dreams of you." And then as he's walking away, and she's like, "Is that like a saying here?" And he's like, No. And so he walks away and we get a moment of him alone, where alone as he's walking away, he's like, kind of like doing that like Skeet Ulrich stupid kind of moment where he's like, tipsy, he says to himself, like, "Oh, you blew it. You were so smooth." So I think he's into her. I do. I think he's into her. And I don't know if she's into him. We do know that because she looked at him shirtless and she's like,
"Yes,
yo, hubba
on my
hubba."
stomach. Yeah.
He was like cradling her like a little baby in the pool.
All right. But Josh, when Belinda goes into her room, she sees that something is amiss. What has happened? Has somebody entered Belinda's room? Did she hear something outside?
I'm very concerned. Like, is this episode going to, like, is next week going to begin here in Belinda's cabana and like Greg emerges from the shadows? Or is it just like, is there some sort of like sense of danger that she's having? You know,
but
like,
could you tell what had happened? That
No.
I would feel like I missed it. I was like, wait, what happened?
No, she seems to like hear noises in her suite. Like, she seems to like hear things, but I didn't see anything. If someone else saw something, you'll have to let us know.
Okay. All right. The name of this episode is The Meaning of Dreams.
Mm-hmm. With an S or a Z?
With an S.
Yeah.
Okay. And we also have the storyline of Gaitak and Mook.
Yeah. Gaitak is going to go to Sitala and basically pitch himself as a bodyguard if she ever needs a bodyguard. She seems to really like him, but then her actual bodyguards will go to Gaitak. And I'd heard of chickens and roosters, but they call him a little turkey. They say you're a little turkey who wants to be a rooster. And they
call
also
him a cat.
They call him a cat.
I did not hear them call him a cat. I heard them call him a pussy.
Yeah. Well, what's going on with this story? Where are we going with this?
Gaitak.
Is he going to get fired?
I hope not. I want a happy ending for this character, for sure. And
no happy ending.
It doesn't have to be that kind of happy ending. I want a happy ending for this character. I want him and Mook to get together. I don't know if it's just she really just wants to be his friend and nothing more than that. But he seems like a sweet baby angel, and I don't want anything bad to happen to Gaitak. I'll be very upset if something bad happens to Gaitak. But they have to have a meeting tomorrow, and so we have to we have to wait until Sunday night to know if it doesn't seem like it's going to be a good meeting.
It seems like that they're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, we got to talk about the robbery tomorrow. So does Gaitak get fired and then like dedicate the rest of the week to trying to find the robbers and bust the crime? I think I'd be down with Detective Gaitak. I'm here for that.
If Gaitak gets fired, do you think he like breaks bad?
Oh man. What would that entail? What would it look like?
Now he goes like totally rogue.
Yeah. And like starts like stealing stuff or like weakening security around.
I don't know. It seems like that he has a problem with who is the Fabian?
With Fabian. Well, it's because Fabian sucks. I think like everyone has a problem with Fabian. Fabian's talking to, and maybe I will sing one day. And she's like, nah,
I don't think so.
I don't think you have to. I don't know. I don't know what would happen if he gets fired. He just seems pure. So I have a hard time imagining him breaking bad. I can see the world in which he wants to be a bodyguard. Does he like take a bullet for somebody? Does he like take a bullet for Mook? Does he take a bullet for Sitala and like kind of like entrench himself? Like something like that. I'm a little worried about his desire to be a bodyguard, and perhaps I'm still just like fully scandalized by Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston, thinking that he's just going to do that he's just going to fly in the way of the bullet.
Okay. Josh, any other thoughts about episode 3 of The White Lotus?
No, things are still like this season is like it's a simmer. We're simmering. We're not sizzling yet, but we're simmering. We're vibing, I think, here in White Lotus, Thailand.
Well, after next week, we'll be halfway through.
Yes.
Halfway through 8 episodes.
Yes.
And
of the White Lotus.
Yeah. And so I think that we're
intrigue to pick up.
Yes.
We've done a lot of setup. We've done a lot of setup, and I think I think we can accommodate like one more sort of like setup-y type of episode, like on the boat. Like I think like we could do some just like fun character bits on the boat, but like we gotta get Rick to Bangkok, and we gotta like activate the vengeance storyline there for sure. We gotta speed some of this stuff along, I think.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that these are the challenges with it being an anthology series where we have, 7 or 8 episodes. And so we have to meet the characters. We have to get to really know them. And I feel like we do at this point really know these characters well.
Definitely.
And so we're still in, sort of like the rising action part of the show.
Like a wave. Yeah.
Right. Like I think that now we're going to
Needs
have
to crash down.
Yeah, the waves are crashing down. And so we'll
Yeah.
see where we go from here as
Yeah.
we pick things up next week.
Those waves need to crash down and go all the way up to the North Pole and then back down a dozen more times. That's what we need to have happen here on the White Lotus.
All right. Do we have a MVP for this episode?
Ooh, MVP of the episode. Very
who's
good.
getting the fishy?
I think if I were to give it, what is the White Lotus equivalent of the fishy? I don't even know. The monkey? Who's getting the monkey?
It's not always a monkey, but
it's not always a monkey. I think maybe Belinda for me. I think Belinda has the best day of anybody until it ends kind of awkwardly, but she's got a great memory. She goes up to Greg and just like totally calls it out. And she like fearlessly goes up to Greg and remembers all of that. And so I think Inspector Belinda might get my fishy. I would have given it to Rick if he had gotten away with getting the snakes out of there without one of them biting his soulmate.
Yeah, but Rick can do no wrong in my book. I would give it to Rick. He's going through it. He's having some breakthroughs. He's going out into town looking for stuff. He finds
Rick's
what he
your
wants.
guy. You're a Rick guy.
I'm a Rick guy.
You're a hatchet man. Yeah.
Hatchet man. He opens up the snakes. They bite his girlfriend. She still doesn't want to dump him.
That's fair. That's a good point.
This guy is bulletproof.
Yeah. Well, let's not test that. I'd love to not test that theory.
He's Teflon.
Under anger, there's always sadness. What are you grieving is what he is asked. Are you an angry guy?
My father.
Are you angry?
Am I angry? Typically not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I get angry.
I'm stark raving mad.
Yeah.
I'm furious. But what am I grieving?
And by proxy, sad.
Yeah. By proxy, sad. But I'm never grieving on these podcasts, except when we get to the end, because we have to wait a whole nother week.
Wait a whole week. All right. Well, first off, we'd love to get your comments on everything here on YouTube. RHAP, we know scripted TV. We'd love to hear what you're thinking and get your feedback on how we're doing about everything. And looking forward to coming back next week. Josh, what else is coming up for you?
Severance, baby. Severance just had a really compelling episode that was sort of a format breaker. We broke it all down, me and the doctors talking about this most recent episode of Severance that also gets a little bit into some Buddhist traditions. We will be breaking it down even further with our theories show in just a day's time. So White Lotus is cooking, Severance is cooking here on We Know Scripted TV. We've also got Yellow Jackets coverage, Daredevil, Born Again, Marvel's TV side of things fires back up this week. The great Jason Reed and Sasha Joseph are going to be covering Daredevil. That's in addition to the Tastemakers, where Taryn and Grace are talking different kinds of TV each and every week. Coming up, I think they're going to be talking about The Pit, which, have you been watching The Pit, Rob? Are you a Pitman?
No.
Pit's really
Not
gross.
a big hospital show guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Pit's really
It's
gross.
really gross?
The hospital, they really don't flinch from what you would see in an ER.
Okay,
but we're not supposed
you're not
to say
talking me
ER.
into it.
You're not supposed to say ER around it. Great show. So they'll be talking about that weekend program with myself and Antonio Mazzaro down the hatch. Lots happening here on We Know Scripted TV.
Yeah. Okay. And we've got so much else going on here on RHAP between all of the reality stuff, Survivor and the Traitors and all of the things. And then also, I've been talking about a little show called Paradise on Hulu. Episode 7, big episode this week. Finale's coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that. I've been talking about it with Chappelle, so check that out right here. We Know Scripted TV. Josh, great job as usual. I'm sorry I called you a douche earlier.
No, it's okay. Sometimes you just have to tell the people what he's really all about.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And we'll be back next time. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.